Welcome back to another episode of Mastering the Interview Pod with me, Austin. The only podcast on the internet that I feel that I am qualified to even talk about. What does that mean? It doesn't matter. Well, today I wanted to go on Indeed. They have a community center and they have a lot of different questions on there and very lengthy kind of situations. And I wanted to just roll through a bunch of different situations, and maybe this applies to you, maybe it doesn't, but maybe you can actually get something out of it. So with that being said, I just want to jump right into it. And so here's the first scenario that I kind of found here. So this is what it reads. Hello, I have a situation I am not sure what to do in. I had a phone interview 2 weeks ago, which I think went well, and the hiring manager I spoke with said that he'd be in touch by the end of the following week. It is now Tuesday, so a couple business days have passed that deadline. So I sent a brief email to follow up. The hiring manager very kindly responded and said that he was unexpectedly out of the office this week, but that he had forwarded my application materials to the VP who, quote, may be in touch with me soon. He also told me they were still accepting applications and speaking with new candidates. I replied to thank him for taking the time to respond, despite being out of the office, and that I understood it was a process and would keep waiting. My question is, should I send a short email to the VP who now has my application, not so much to follow up, but to just virtually introduce myself and reiterate my interest? Would that make me look interested and impressive with my initiative, or just desperate and annoying a probably busy person by filling up a probably already full inbox? The VP was CC'd on an earlier email to me, so I have his address. I am just not sure if it is a good idea or not. Or does the fact that they're still looking at new resumes and talking to new candidates indicate that they've already dismissed my candidacy and I shouldn't bother? What a situation that you found yourself in. Well, here is my initial thoughts. First and foremost, always, if you have that person's email address and someone escalated your resume up to the VP, whether or not they may or may not contact you, always make sure that you do email them. I think you always do that. And the reason why I think you should do that is because he doesn't really know much about you other than maybe the hiring manager's quick, brief discussion of, we have this candidate, she is very well versed in XYZ, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much it. Baseline, right? For me, I want to get ahead of that situation, and I want to make sure that the VP knows exactly who I am, and like you even detailed out here, reiterating your interest in the role, virtually introduce yourself, really make it known who exactly that you are. So I would definitely say, wait 1-2 days, and then definitely reach out to the VP. Really custom curate your email to really have value up top. So when you do email, make sure that it's not this lengthy email about, who you are and this whole bit, whatever it is. Make sure that it's very concise and very short. Like you said, the VP may be very busy, but you still want to get across that you are someone that, should be taken seriously. You are someone that should be, considered for this role. I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing that they've still opened it up for other applications. And the reason why is because, this has happened to me many times where I figured and I thought that, hey, I've been really far down this process. What the heck? Why are they opening up applications to other candidates? But it's really just to kind of make sure that they're making the right decision, making sure that there isn't anyone out there, who, can also give you a run for your money. So it's a common tactic that places like to do just to see, what else is out there, those late stragglers. But if you got an application forwarded to the VP, you need to take advantage of that opportunity. You need to make sure that you're taking advantage of reaching out and saying, hey, I know that the hiring manager, call him out by name, gave you my application and gave you my resume and gave you this and da 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 da. This is who I am. I'd love to virtually meet you or get on a quick phone call and talk to you about myself, or talk about the role, or talk about how I would fit in, or talk about whatever it is. So don't wait. Because also they are busy. VPs are busy. I'm sure they get tons of either applications or whatever it is based off of, the field that you're in, the industry, the vertical, whatever it is. So even though that he may be in touch with you soon and some time has passed, it is always good to touch base, always good to follow up. I feel like there is no world in which that following up is a bad thing. And even if you are, pestering or annoying, whatever it is. I've even called that out myself to places that I've applied for. I've even called it out in my email and saying, like, I know that I'm bothering you. I know that I'm pestering you. I know that I'm being annoying about this, but it's because that I really want this opportunity. It's because I really want this role, because I know that my interests align with what the opportunity is being presented. So call that out. Be honest. It's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. All right, next question. This is a short question, but I think this one is very important for a lot of people out there. Question is, how would I explain to another employer that I left a job due to anxiety? I just couldn't handle the thought of going back to the graphic nature of the work, and I didn't tell anyone I was resigning. Very good question. So I was in a situation like that too, where you get the Sunday scaries, right? Where the Sunday night before you go to work on Monday, you have a panic attack, right? Your heart drops into your stomach. You're extremely stressed out. You're extremely nervous. You don't know what the heck is going to happen. And it eats away at you. The stress is insurmountable. And I had kind of like that same anxious feeling day to day. It was affecting my personal life. It was affecting just everything around me. And so I think what you need to do is be honest. Again, I really and truly believe that when you're interviewing for other places, when you're going to other places and searching for job opportunities, and you have that interview and you have, that opportunity to speak with a hiring manager, whomever it is, and they're looking at your resume, be upfront and be honest. Say, the workplace was absolutely toxic. My day-to-day was just absolutely insurmountable of time consuming work, and it was just unrealistic, based off of the lifestyle that I live, or whatever it is. The anxiety of your job, you shouldn't even been in that situation in the first place. Having those day after day anxious panic attacks of, are you going to be able to get your work done, or if you're working with clients, or people above you, or left and right, or whatever it is, and just, the feeling of being yelled at or scolded at, or whatever it is, that's obviously not okay. Obviously, that's not okay. But I think you definitely need to just be upfront. You definitely need to be honest. When you explain to another employer why you left a job due to anxiety, mental health is being talked about way more often these days. Mental health is something that is actually being brought into the forefront. It's not a bad thing. Anxiety, depression, those kinds of things, they should be talked about. They should be explained. They should be at the forefront of everything, because that is how you navigate your day-to-day life. If what you did caused you so much panic and anxiety, you are leaving that. You're doing better. You already are on the right track to a better work-life balance, a better professional career, because you're not letting that rut just keep you down. You are deciding to make that change. You are the one that is deciding, I want to seek out another opportunity because I don't want to be complacent and deal with this anxiety day after day after day after day. So that is something that you can use. That is something that you can definitely put in your arsenal when you're interviewing to another employer and saying, this was causing X for me, and I decided to make that change. Here are examples of this workplace and the different things that was happening around me that caused this anxiety. I'm leaving that because I know that your company is not that. I'm leaving that because I know that the opportunity that's presented in front of me will not provide me anxiety. I will excel at my job. I will be a 110% better employee because I will be happy day to day. That anxiety that you had at your previous job, it definitely affects your work. You get scared, you get nervous, more apt to make mistakes, right? Now, you don't have that. Now, that doesn't even exist anymore. So when you're trying to explain it to another employer, use that bad energy, that negativity, that awfulness that you used to have. Spin it. spin it. Turn it into a positive. Say, this is what it was, and this is where I want to be. This is what I don't want to have anymore. So don't always look at that stuff in a negative light. If anything, I feel like when I've applied to different places after I've had a horrible job experience, one, very similar like this with anxiety, the place that I'm interviewing for, they've been more than welcoming, understanding, empathetic. And they understand, like, listen, what you went through was bad. This is not who we are. They want to prove as well that they're not like those types of companies out there that provide the anxiety to their, workforce. So definitely just be honest. Be absolutely honest, and don't think of it as a bad thing. Don't think of it as a bad thing. You can even say things like what that company, what their mantra was or what they believed in, it didn't align with you. It didn't align with your values. It didn't align with what you are standing for. Communicate that. Communicate that to your new job and say, what you guys are doing, that's what aligns with me. Seriously, that's what aligns with what I want. It's really simple. Really simple. So don't take it as a bad thing. Don't take it as a knock or anything like that. Seriously. Use it to your advantage. Make it so that you are forthright and you are telling them exactly what you want. Exactly what you want. So, all right. Now for the third question. This one, again, very simple. Over a year off, working on jobs, how can I best describe this time gap? If I've said it once, I feel like I've said it 1,000 times. You need to be honest. On your resume, you need to make sure that you have that gap appropriately timed out. What that'll show the hiring manager or the interview screener or whatever it is, it shows that you're honest and you're trustworthy. The worst thing you can do is hide anything, because once again, when you get to the final step and they do a background check on you, they're going to find this out. They're going to see this. And I would really hate for anybody to get that far down the road only for the carpet to be pulled out from underneath them because they were not truthful on their cover letter, on their resume, during the interview process, whatever. If you have that year off, you worked odd jobs, you can say that, write that in your resume, put that in your cover letter, make it known up top, and then actually truly articulate why. Why did you take that year off? Was it for your mental health? Like I just talked about earlier. Again, mental health and those types of things, they are being talked about today. It's not a bad thing. Were you struggling with finances? Did you get laid off? Were you moving? There are so many things that can explain a time gap, right? Did you want to pursue something else and then realize that you were unable to do the thing that you wanted to do, right? There's always a reason behind a time gap. But if you talk truthfully and you answer honestly, you're going to be just fine. You'll be just fine. If you took a year off, and say you took a year off because you wanted to explore your hobbies, how is that a bad thing? How is that a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. If you took a year off because you were saying, listen, I wanted to pursue this field, working odd jobs. I wanted to get into this. I wanted to be whatever. How does that make you look bad? That you are someone that wanted to pursue your passion? That doesn't look bad. If you can explain and say, I tried this and it didn't work out, but I realized that, it's not for me. I'm not cut out for that. So I applied to this job because I knew that, in the past I was very successful at this. I tried something new, it didn't work out, so I'm going back to what I know best. That's not a bad thing. You're being honest. If you worked odd jobs because you wanted to, maybe add new skills or whatever to your tool belt, say that. I wasn't being challenged enough at my old position. So I worked a bunch of odd jobs because I wanted to get the lay of the land. I wanted to see what else is out there. I wanted to learn different software skills. I wanted to learn different hard skills or whatever it is. Now I have all this experience, all this extra experience working these smaller odd jobs, knowing these different fields, knowing these verticals, knowing these industries, knowing this whatever. Now I'm ready. Now I'm armed. Now I'm good to go. I cannot wait to plant my roots at a company and show what I have learned. Right? If you took a year off, you didn't do nothing. You said you worked odd jobs. It's a very short question, but you can take a lot out of this. If you took over a year off, you didn't do nothing. Right? And even if you did do nothing, I took over a year off because I wanted to just decompress. I took over a year off because my life was extremely stressful, or my life was this, or my life was that, whatever. Or like the question previous that, you had anxiety at the job, whatever it was. Just be honest. Just be truthful. I'm telling you, that stuff goes a long way. Hiring recruiters, members in HR, recruiting, whatever it is, they're not awful people. They're not terrible people. They're good human beings. They have an ear for empathy. They have an ear for sympathy. They have an ear for understanding. I'm telling you, if you talk to hiring managers and they're so quick to dismiss you just based off of you being truthful, they are not doing their job appropriately. I think at the end of the day, it's all about when you have that opportunity, when you have that chance to be truthful, it goes such a long way. And you're also just putting good karma out there too. If you're constantly lying about your gap year, or you're constantly lying about, where you came from or what you've done or anything like that, I'm telling you, karma is a huge thing. A huge thing. You will just feel way more confident. You'll feel way more just enriched and enlightened, being able to just speak truthfully and honestly. You won't feel that weight, that baggage pulling you back, carrying you away from places and things that you want to be able to do. Just be honest. Just be honest. Because again, at the end of the day, say you lie about this, right? And you get to the end and you do the background check and they find out about it. How embarrassing is that going to be for you? How demoralizing is that going to be for you? Detrimental, right? And that's all you're going to think about moving forward when you apply to other jobs. So if you're just honest, listen, 20 minutes up front explaining something will save you 20 weeks looking for a job, half a year looking for a job, because you keep lying and you keep getting to the end and not getting the job, or you just keep lying and they find out about that, or you're not explaining yourself properly, or whatever it is. Just take that extra time up front, those first couple of interviews, your cover letter, your resume, whatever. Take that extra 20 minutes. Talk about it. Just talk about it. It's not that crazy of a thing. I'm telling you it's not. I'm telling you. All right. Moving on to the next one. This is a great one. All right. So, title of this one is First Job for a Teenager. I love it. It says, I really need a job in order to help out around my house for bills. It would be my first time ever for a real job, and I really need the experience to get out there, but it seems that jobs everywhere want experience. Any thoughts? All right. So, this is, I think, one of the biggest complaints that teenagers, college kids, they always have, right? They want to work somewhere, but it requires experience. But you just graduated high school or college, or still in college or high school, and you don't have any experience. But the position is like an entry-level job of which they want experience. So I get it. It is, it's like this weird vicious cycle, but don't be quick to knock any job. My first job, My mom and dad walked me right to Walgreens, and they said, this young man needs a job. I still had to interview. I still had to do everything. My parents did not come for money. I didn't come for money at all. I had to work when I was in high school because I needed to help pay for bills and do things around the house. Just exactly like you're talking about in this question. Same deal. Both my brothers did the same thing when they're older than I am. They did the same thing. I've been working since I was in high school, since I was a junior in high school. After high school, I would walk right over to Walgreens, and I'd work there. Do my homework late at night, get up, rinse and repeat. I loved working because I loved working hard and I loved making money because I worked hard. I would actually volunteer to work holidays. I wanted to do back-to-back shifts on holidays because I got time and a half. My parents were okay with that. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, whatever it is, major holidays to spend with the family. My family was okay because they understood that what I wanted was I wanted more money. I wanted to be able to help more. I wanted to be able to do things that I wanted. I want to have full autonomy. So, for you, for your first time ever getting a real job, don't think that fast food, retail, whatever it is, don't knock it. Seriously, I know we are in a pandemic currently. I understand that, but I want to talk about the larger picture here. You know, when things start to eventually go back to normal. But working fast food, working retail, working those types of jobs, you really get a feel for customer relations. And what I mean by that is you get a feel for how angry and how rude or brash or quick to yelling people can be. You know, I don't know how many stories that I can rattle off when I was working at Walgreens about how many times that I was just doing my normal job. People would just come in and just yell at me. They don't even know them. A complete stranger would yell at me for no reason. But you understood how to interact with people. You understood how to respond to these types of people. You also understand how to work with other people who are maybe lazy, don't want to do their jobs, constantly late, cutting corners, or maybe you get to work with people who are overachievers, right? So you learn a lot about the people around you and how to navigate that, right? If you're working with people who are lazy, show up, show off, be the person that they can count on, not the one that they skip over. Always and forever, always be the person they can count on. You want to have that moniker that your leader, your boss, your peer, whoever can go to you knowing that you will get the job done. That is one of the most important traits, and that is one of the best things that people can say about you, is that you always deliver. I think that starts with your first job. That sort of mentality, that attitude, that can-do spirit, right? That all starts with your first job. So, for your first job, I would honestly, for me, so for just another example, I worked at Walgreens. I started as a cashier, right? I worked really hard, and you don't really know how to work hard at being a cashier, but just being efficient, being timely, being friendly, being someone who's happy to show up every day, that stuff goes a long way. If you look miserable behind the counter, is that really how I think Walgreens wants to represent their brand, or represent their store, or anybody, right? If you show up happy, if you show up excited, that will permeate throughout the entire business. Your managers, your other coworkers, the customers, that goes such a long way. If you are just smiling. Don't get me wrong. Not everyone can be so smiley and happy, right? Maybe their personal life, there are things that are going on that obviously people should know, and not everything is always so bubblegum and rainbows. Like I said, I didn't come from money or anything like that, but I've left that stuff at the door because work was work. Work was important. Work was money for food, gas, bills. That's how important it was. So don't you think that you should strive to be the absolute best person you can be at work so you can retain this job, show off, be promoted, get raises, bonuses, be put on the schedule, get the time that you want? It's huge. It really is huge, and it goes a long way. And that sort of stuff starts to affect your mental chemistry, makes you want to work harder. You understand the importance and value of money. It really does go a long way. So I started as a cashier, and many times I'm getting like flashbacks in my head talking about this. People would come up, they'd take candy, they'd eat it in front of me, and then throw me the discarded wrapper for me to scan so that they can buy it. I'm sorry, I don't think that's how the world works. I don't think you eat the product before you pay for the product. But how many times that's happened to me? But it's okay. I let it slide, right? I scanned the torn up wrapper, they paid for it, whatever. Who am I to yell at them, scream at them, whatever it is? No. I don't want to fight or anything like that, right? Calm, be a good employee, and move on. Smile. Don't be aggressive. Eventually, I got to working on the floor, facing shelves, stocking, cleaning, doing all those types of things, right? Yeah, but part of that too, taking out trash, right? Gross, awful, disgusting. People are disgusting, right? But again, all I thought to myself and all I said to myself was, this is only temporary, right? It's only temporary. I have bigger aspirations, I have bigger goals, but I gotta do this now. You gotta dig ditches for a little bit, right? You got to. So I did that stuff. Then I worked more so in the stockroom. Trucks would come in, unload them. I'm not 6'4", 250, built like The Rock. I'm not. I'm barely 5'10", 160. So, no. Was it the best? No. But, I actually loved truck days. I love stacking cases of water. It was fun for me. It felt like Tetris, right? I love stacking the bays of paper towels or Pringle cans or whatever it is. I made it fun. I made it enjoyable. And eventually from stock, I got to work in the photo department. I loved it. You know why? I got to learn a whole new skill set. I got to learn how to develop film, make a bunch of cool canvas prints, right? I got to work with big, loud machines. It was awesome. It was so cool. I loved it. I got to deal with the happy customers coming in, getting their photos. This is when we printed and developed photos from Kodak cameras instead of sending them out now. Did I make mistakes? You bet. You know how many film rolls that I ruined? A lot. A lot. But I learned, I got better, I understood the machines better. It was a lot of fun. And I worked my way, 4 different positions. Within a couple years of it. And you know what? I wouldn't take that back for the world. I loved it. Not saying if I'd go back that I would do it like right now, obviously. But as a kid, as a teenager, those years taught me so much. Like I said, it taught me work ethic. It taught me how to deal with people, time management, right? So for your first time ever real job, I know if it's asking for experience, but here's what you need to do. What experience have you done just, say, around your house? Dealing with other people, school, volunteering, whatever it is. If this is an entry-level position, say for something like McDonald's, or say for Walgreens, or say whatever it is, retail, clothing store, the mall, whatever it is, right? Apply things in your personal life as experience for your first time getting a real job. And the reason why I say that is because they also should know, right? They should know that if you are brand new to this whole endeavor, to this whole job world, they should know that you don't really have necessarily real world experience. But what you can talk about is, what are your work ethics? Who are you as a student in school? Who are you? Are you the type that when school ends, you go home, you immediately do your homework, so you don't let it sit there? Are you someone who's athletic? What's your work ethic like there? Do you work out? Do you excel at the sport that you're doing? What clubs are you on? Chess club, debate club, part of any other groups, after school activities, programs, whatever it is. What are your aspirations? What are your goals? And also, be honest. Again, the honesty part comes up again. If you are looking for a first-time real job, why? Right? Why? I would never say that I'm looking for a first-time real job because I want money, because money is good. No. I want a job because I want to help my family. I want a job because I'm doing a lot of after-school activities that I really enjoy, but I understand that getting a job and working hard is maybe more important. I want this job because I want to be able to be a self-supporter or support my family, or I have dreams, I have goals, I have aspirations. Here is what I want to do in my life. This is where I know that I can start. Set me up on a trial period. Let me do a scenario for you. Something, right? Flip it on them. Create a scenario. And have them ask you to, respond how you would in a certain situation or a certain scenario, whatever it might be. That stuff, I'm telling you, it really goes a long way. It really does. So, if you're thinking about a first time ever job in terms of like cushy corporate job or, like corporate America, things like that, whatever it is, that's going to be a little bit harder. Because they probably are going to require some experience. That's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. So for me, I would say first time ever real job, retail, fast food, restaurant, waiter, whatever it is. I would honestly and truly say, go for something like that. Get your experience, right? Understand people, understand working with people. And I feel like that could go a little bit more and be a little bit easier for you to get into, say, being a intern somewhere or being an assistant somewhere or, being a data cruncher or whatever it is, right? I'm telling you, just hear me out. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad at all. And even so, people who do work at those places, they have jobs. They are working. They are working towards something. No job is a bad job. That's the one thing I hate so much. People who are custodians or people who work at fast food or retail, whatever it is. If you are the outside looking in, if you're a person that doesn't have a job, you need to be looking at yourself and wondering what the heck you are doing. Because this person's working hard. This person has a job. They don't need to respond to you. They don't need to deal with you. So don't knock it. Seriously, don't. Because it teaches you a lot more than you think. I know I just went on a whole rant on this whole bit, but really, I'm so passionate about it. And when I have children and things like that, I want to make sure that my child, same deal. I want them to understand the value of hard work early in their life. Nothing is given. Nothing is given. It has to be earned. Because in the future, you're going to be presented in situations to where you think that, once again, it should be given. And then reality is going to smack you in the face. So, long and short of it, you want a first-time real job and you need to get experience to get out there. Well, I say, look around your local town, retail, mom and pop shops, whatever it is. Start there. start there. All right, off the soapbox, moving on to the next question. Now, the next question is kind of like the question before it, but it's pretty much kind of the same. It says, how can I get a part-time job online easily? I am a student. So again, getting a part-time job online isn't easy. So there's no, I hate that thing too, where it's like nothing is just easy. Nothing is just given, right? You got to earn it. There's no just easy job online. I don't also understand this mentality of like, I should be able to get a job very easy. No. You got to interview for it. You got to plan for it. You got to tailor your resume to it. You got to write a good cover letter. Even for a part-time job online. Even if you're a student, you still got to do the things that you got to do. There's no, yes, there are easy applies. Yes, Indeed has that, LinkedIn has that stuff. But you should still be custom curating your resume, your cover letters, your profiles to match what you want. So, with that being said, part-time job online, in the wake of coronavirus and things like that, a lot of places have gone virtual. A lot of places. The one thing I can think of for a student, especially nowadays, is something to deal with social media. So everyone's seen it, right? Social media is huge. TikTok's now major. That's the new thing right now, right? But Instagram, Facebook, those stuff, that's not going away. So part-time job online, something around like a social media assistant, maybe? Social media manager, that kind of thing. But even so, a lot of those places require school, a degree, experience, background. A lot of those places require you to know larger softwares that manage with social media analytics. Being some sort of social media assistant or whatever it is isn't just as simple and easy as like scheduling posts. There's true analytics behind it. And why? Right? You're not just throwing things out there to throw it out there. There has to be reasons and logic behind what you're posting and why you're posting, and kind of like the call to action of what you ultimately want the person to do. You're not just kind of in it for the likes. Likes are vanity. If you're posting for a business, if you're posting for a company, at the end of the day, you want them to what? Go to their store, go to their website, go to their e-com store, sign up for something, trial, what? Read an article, go to a blog. So there's always a purpose behind working in social media for a company. So again, on finding a job online easily, it's not as simple as just set it and forget it. You gotta learn Hootsuite, or you gotta learn Social Bakers, or you gotta learn something, right? And even if you're doing some sort of social media whatever, hopefully they're doing something with ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Twitter ads, LinkedIn ads, whatever it is. That stuff is so huge, right? Understanding audiences, understanding segments, who your primary targets are, who the demo is. So I know you're a student and you're looking for that quick online job, but seriously, really consider, what are you studying, and how can that be applied to something that is virtual nowadays? Assistant jobs, in terms of like working as an assistant for somebody, that's going to be very few and far between now, because we're not really in offices much anymore. You can only be an assistant, virtually for so many hours, in terms of maybe scheduling meetings and replying to emails, very low level emails, or forwarding or whatever it is. There's not really, much you can do. So with that, maybe brand ambassador, maybe being a brand ambassador for a very large company. But again, that if you're a brand ambassador, and again, that just doesn't mean you get free stuff. The way a lot of the brand ambassador programs work is you promote the product. Most of the time you have to buy it, most of the time you got to buy whatever you're a brand ambassador for, post it on your social, of which you have to have a pretty decent social following. Then you get some sort of commission or whatever it is based off of how much you've sold. And you have to have tracking and everything like that and blah 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 blah. So again, you're like a pseudo salesperson. A brand ambassador is kind of just a prettier title than just you're in sales, essentially, right? That's what you're doing. You're convincing people around you to buy something that you are pitching. A brand ambassador is just someone who pitches clothing or pitches shoes or pitches bracelets or a pizza oven, right? That's all it is. And if you get those people to buy, you'll get a small portion of the proceed. That's all it is. Same thing with a lot of these multi-level marketing places. That's another good online job that you can easily get. That's actually a really good out. Scentsy, Herbalife, Mary Kay, those types of things. Those are all multi-level marketing places. Some call it a pyramid scheme. But at the end of the day, you are at least under a manager, you're under whatever it is, like the group that they have, right? But you still got to buy that starter kit. You still got to buy some of that product to start promoting. And you got to know people, right? Your friends, family. How are you going to market that? And once again, you get a percentage of what you sell. If you get people underneath you to sell that stuff as well, you start moving up in the ranks. You start getting more money. So, yes, there are opportunities out there, but if we're talking, say, like I said, social media assistant, whatever it is, well, you got to have some sort of background knowledge on it. You got to be doing something that shows that you're valuable and you know what the heck you're talking about. Brand voice is huge for companies. You got to have a consistent brand voice. So if you apply to those types of things and you do have experience, you do have a background in it, make sure that you're talking about how you understand their messaging. You've been to their website. You understand what they're talking about so that you can be successful in these interviews. Brand ambassadors. I would really say you can only really be a brand ambassador if you have a very large social following. I mean, 500 to 1,000 followers maybe on Instagram minimum. And even so, if you have those followers, that doesn't necessarily mean the algorithm is going to show what you are promoting on a lot of those people's home feeds unless they're interacting with you. So, really quickly, with that being said, is you have to start doing a lot of engagement posts. You got to get those likes then. You got to do a lot of that stuff because you got to make sure that when you post something, that hits their feed. That's not 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 thumb flicks on your home feed away from being shown your post. You got to be active. If you're a brand ambassador, you got to get your follower count up. Relevant hashtags, things like that, good content, right? Friends, family, whatever it is. If you want to do that stuff and promote yourself and be a brand ambassador, you got to have a good following. You got to have a good social following. And even then, even if you have that social following, you got to make sure that the content that you're posting to push what you're pushing isn't extremely salesy. You got to be confident, all that stuff, right? Good photos, good captions, whatever it is. But if you're talking about just normal day-to-day people on your Instagram feed, your normal friends, your normal family and stuff, yes, some might just buy just to support you. But if you put a lot of pressure on it and that's all you post day after day after day after day after day after day, it becomes a little too much. So brand ambassador, it's a little bit of a fine line. You got to really figure it out kind of on how to work that. Now, say multi-level marketing, places like that, like Sensi or Mary Kay, whatever it is, that definitely should be your life. That's the stuff that you should be posting day after day after day after day. Make your own Facebook group. Invite people. Make a separate Instagram account, right? Be creative. Find an audience. Like I said, use relevant hashtags. Start a YouTube channel. Do whatever you possibly can to market yourself. Old school guerrilla marketing, flyers, mailers, door to door, right? Do that kinds of stuff. I'm telling you, stuff goes a long way. Multi-level marketing can be extremely profitable. I'm sure you've read it. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the people out there taking home 6 figures. And the scheme of it all isn't even how much they sell. The goal is to get as many people under you as possible and getting them to sell. Right? Because then you make a cut off of what they sell. And then you also want to pitch and promote. Well, then the people underneath them need to get more people. And then more people, blah, 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 blah. By the end of it, you are getting so much in commission because at the end of the day, that's 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever it is, off of how many tiers. That really adds up. So, part-time job, easily, online, you're a student, try to do something in social media, but make sure you're knowledgeable about it. Brand ambassador, if you have a good following. Multi-level marketing, if you think it's right for you. All right, I think we got time to do just one more. All right, so here's one. So I'm searching for a work from home position that involves data entry. I do not have any kinds of certifications other than knowing how to use certain applications. What I don't know, I go online and I learn. I'm currently working from home doing inbound customer service. Honestly, I must do something that involves little to no customer contact. What I do involves tons of customer education with people who have no idea what they're doing, and I cannot do this anymore. I'd like to go back to school, but my current schedule takes up my mornings and evenings. I do not want to quit working, but the stress of what I do makes it hard to concentrate on my educational needs. Can anyone recommend anything? Wow. What a bind. So, here's the thing. There is no necessarily a perfect job of what you're asking for here. And by that I mean you gotta have some sort of customer contact, whatever business that you're in. I mean, it's very, very unlikely that you're not going to be dealing with either people or customers. Having a cushy job at home where you literally deal with nobody, unless you're your own boss, that's kind of rare. So a work from home position that involves data entry. I mean, there are a lot of places, a lot of like maybe accounting firms and things like that where you just kind of, do some data entry, or even, maybe like, something in operations. But if you're applying for those types of positions and you have knowledge on applications, I mean, it might just be something like entry or just a little bit above entry is what you might be looking for. I mean, certifications are absolutely crucial and huge in what you're talking about in terms of data entry. But you can definitely kind of boast if you have Excel skills and software skills. That stuff, what you're talking about, that is huge. But I get it. Inbound customer service, I understand that is so hard. Call centers, things like that, man, I mean, yeah, preach. Definitely understand that is so difficult to handle. I mean, it's just one right after the other. And again, people are awful. People are bad. Other than HR people. I love HR people. But yes, when you got to deal with customers, and it's really taxing, and I definitely understand that. And I know you want to go back to school. So you're in a little bit of a bind here. I would say you got to work for a really large company that does a lot of numbers. You got to deal with somebody or something that deals with a lot of numbers. If you're doing data entry, maybe even like something like secretarial, being a secretary, or maybe an assistant, that kind of stuff too. If it requires a lot of data entry, but you got to look at the right company. I think that's going to be kind of the kicker of it all. So this is kind of a hard question, because the only thing is you should probably kind of find something that's more 9 to 5-ish. And then if you want to go back to school, I would say, go back to school at night. Or super early in the morning, and you got to just kind of put that time in. It's going to suck and it's be extremely stressful, but for a job that you're looking for, if you know certain software systems, I would say accounting, but a lot of accounting positions require a lot of certifications and even schooling for that. So in terms of like data entry, which is kind of just a very vague term, maybe something in operations, assistant, secretary. I know, again, assistant is very hard in the world that we're living in today, but that's kind of just how I feel about it. But again, you got to look at the right company. I'm not even quite sure, what you even want to search for in terms of the job opportunity that you want to pursue. So, a little bit of a tougher question. In terms of feedback, man, it's really kind of what you make it. I mean, one thing's kind of got to give a little bit. So, you will probably have to deal with some sort of customer service or dealing with some sort of people. So kind of lower your expectations on that a little bit. But definitely, if anyone's in this position, in terms of just wanting to get a very simple data entry job, I mean, I know they're out there. But definitely see if you can find ones that are outside the city or state that you're living in. A lot of these companies have gone virtual. They don't want to pay the overhead for having downtown sky rises, So, a lot of places are looking at virtual work from home people all around the United States. So, maybe try that out. Check that out. Check out major corporations or major businesses. It doesn't have to be where you are centrally located. It could be anywhere. So that's my feedback. Try maybe secretary or assistant or scheduling assistant or something like that. Project manager even, maybe something. Well, project manager still deal with a lot of clients and stuff, but it all depends. But I would say find the company that that deals with, if you're doing data entry, that deals with maybe a lot of numbers or something that involves a lot of heavy data entry, and try to get in that way. I think if you just look basically for data entry jobs, you might find yourself kind of going along a lot of major accounting positions. So that is my feedback. Well, with that's going to be my last question for the day. But I just wanted to take the time and thank anybody who came across this, anybody who came across my website, my YouTube channel, any of my social media platforms, whatever it is. Like I talked about, at the end of the day, all I want to do is just be able to help somebody. All I want to do is just be someone who can provide some sort of navigation through this weird time that we're living in, or just help you apply for jobs, find jobs, interview properly. I have a lot of experience with that, and I just want to be able to share that knowledge and just be able to share just some sort of nugget of wisdom or tips or tricks or whatever it is. And that's kind of what this whole platform is. It's just, I just want to be able to help people master that interview process. I just want to help people understand that it's not scary, it's not hard. Whether you're a teenager or you've been out of work for 50 years, or you have a gap year, or you're looking to do data, and whatever it is, you can do it. And like I said all the way at the beginning of this podcast, it's not like people are understanding. Everyone has a situation. Everyone has a story to tell. No one person is the same. Everyone else is unique. I'm telling you. So when you talk about yourself, you talk about your experiences, you talk about your history, you talk about whatever, just be honest and just be truthful. I'm telling you, that stuff goes a long way with people. And I'm telling you, you'll feel better too. So the way I'm going to end this podcast is literally just by saying the way to master an interview is to be honest. The way to master any of that stuff, honestly, and ironically, I just said honestly, but the way you do it, just be truthful. Just be truthful. I'm telling you. Just be truthful. So, with that, I want to thank you so much for listening. I want to thank you for stopping by, checking me out, and also hit up my social media. If you have any questions or anything like that, please go to my social, DM me, go to my YouTube page, write to me, whatever it is. I would love it. If you have a question, hit me up and I will respond back to you. I will give you things to say. I will help you out in any way. Any question, it doesn't matter. I want to be able to just use what I know and just kind of pay it forward. So with that, I will finally sign off and say, once again, thank you for checking me out. This has been Austin with Mastering the Interview, and I really hope you have a good day and go out there and master that interview.